Hello, my friends. I am always so excited to share with you a little bit of the behind the scenes anytime I go for a client shoot. But in the past, I've always just been so caught up in the moment that I've never actually taken the time to record some of myself behind the scenes, as well as really think through and articulate the ideas that would be helpful for you. But thankfully for you, I have started to do that. So in this video, I want to share some behind the scenes from my recent video shoot with Kronda Adair from Karvel Digital, as well as some tips around interviewing. How do you actually capture the dialogue that's going to tell a comprehensive story about a brand that doesn't feel like it's missing any gaps? Plus, for the first time ever, I let my client fly my drone. So if that's something that you want to see, then keep on watching. When Kronda Adair from Karvel Digital contacted me to create a brand video for her, I was so excited because we had connected online previously in common groups, but she's also local here in Portland. So it's always a beautiful thing when I can actually connect in person with other entrepreneurial women. Her program teaches women and service providers how to create a content machine that doesn't rely on them showing up every single day in order to continue to get clients. And as a service provider myself, I definitely resonated with this. But even deeper than that, I really resonated with her deeper why and her message around supporting women and women of color and lifting each other up to create a community. So in the process of selecting the type of BRoll shots or portrait shots that would support her story, it was really important for me, as with all clients, to really dig into their personality, how they like to move in business, their way of marketing online, and to really capture that feeling in a video. Now, typically, a lot of my clients are a bit more artsy oriented or they are spiritual. So telling that type of story as opposed to a modern lifestyle brand does have its visual differences. So this was a great challenge for me to move away from more of my typical style into something that was a little bit more fast-paced and upbeat and contemporary. So the first tip that I want to share with you is around selecting B-roll footage. Typically with a lot of my other clients, I can use a lot of slow motion because that almost stretches and slows down time. It has this ability to make you feel like you're suspended in a moment and really pay attention to the story and the dialogue. And while I will always love that look and that style, it didn't really fit Kronda's brand. Upon digging deeper into her story distillation exercises, I found out that she was a fan of the Hamilton soundtrack and that her musical style had a little bit of soul and R&B, which I absolutely loved. So knowing this, it was really important that I didn't use a lot of slow motion shots. In fact, I didn't use any slow motion except for the shots with her dog. And the only reason why I wanted to use slow motion there is because her dog, Odie, was super energetic and he moves around a lot. And so with slow motion, I could really capture his movement as well as him catching the bubbles, which is a really fun scene. Other than that, all the other shots are shot normally in 24 frames per second. Now, in case you don't know, 24 frames per second is the cinematic look. There are people who shoot in 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second, a lot of other frames per second, but I always shoot in 24. Maybe it's because of my background in film, but I really love that cinematic style. I was also conscious in making sure that her B-roll shots didn't sit on screen for too long. So sometimes with the slow motion shots, I'll let it sit for a while and let the music swell and let the dialogue really sink in. But because Kronda's brand is a little bit more upbeat, I didn't want any image to sit on screen for a long period of time. So in that way, I made sure that I got a diverse range of shots within one scene that I could cut through in a quicker sequence. So in general, I didn't keep any shot longer than 2 to 3 seconds on screen. Ultimately, this helps with the pacing of the video. The longer the shots are on screen, the slower the pacing is going to feel. So this was an intentional creative decision that we made to maintain the feeling of her brand. I know I also said that I want to share some of my interview tips with you to make sure that you're capturing the totality of the story during the interview process. Now, you might not be interviewing somebody else on camera, but you might want to DIY your own brand video, or you might want to just speak on video about your brand and create social media content from that. And if that's you, then this tip is going to be really helpful. So what I always make sure that I do with my clients is that I'm asking them about their past, I'm asking them about their present, and about their future. And in this context specifically, I'm talking about her work and her brand, but also the future vision of her content bootcamp program. Because here's the thing, by asking yourself or the client to really explore what that vision looks like in the past, in the present, in the future, you can paint a much clearer picture of what that looks like without having to go into all the details about the features and, stuff that people don't really care about.
Our vision right now is to help 100 service-based business owners get to 20K months consistently. One of the things that excites me the most about bootcamp is that it's the kind of offer that, everybody's going to come in and they're going to take away different things from it, but those things are going to serve you well past the time that you're with us. It's the kind of foundational skill building and confidence building that's going to serve you, throughout your business and any other business that you might start, and maybe some parts of your life too.
What people care about and what your viewers want to know is, what is their experience going to be like? What are they going to gain from working with you? And by talking through the past and the present and the future, then you're guaranteed to have these pieces that your audience is going to feel drawn to and compelled by. Now, it is very rare, should I say never, that I allow my client to operate my equipment. And it's not that I don't trust them, it's just that really the opportunity has never come by. I've never had a client say, I'm interested in seeing how your camera works, or I'm interested in seeing how your drone works. But when we went to this nearby park and we captured these sunset shots, I noticed that there was this big open expanse in the sky. And what does that mean for me? That means the perfect opportunity to capture drone shots. And as soon as I said that I was going to bust out the drone, I saw Kronda's face just light up. So I knew we were onto something good. So I used the drone to capture a shot of Kronda and her partner walking off into the sunset and then flying off overhead. But after I knew that I had captured these critical shots, I noticed that Kronda was still really interested in how the drone works. So I asked her, do you want to fly the drone? And she instantly said yes. So I showed her how to take off the drone, how to direct it using the remote. Not only was it really fun for the client to be able to fly the drone around, but then we also captured footage like this that I'm able to use in a blog video to tell the story of what happened during the shoot or during an event. And the cool thing about footage as well is that if you're rolling footage of yourself acting through different situations and kind of posing, then you can actually pull stills from that video to also use on your social media. So that's an extra tip for you. Just one little caveat is that if you are shooting 24 frames per second, it is 24 times that the shutter speed opens within a second. So technically that's kind of slow. So you don't want to be doing any jumping or fast motion shots. Make sure that you're moving slowly and deliberately to make sure that those still images that you extract can be very clear. Otherwise, for that purpose, if you know you're going to be pulling still photos from your footage, then I would recommend that you shoot at something like 30 frames per second or even 60 frames per second. Now, if you know you're going to be running or with a dog or something where there is going to be fast motion, if your camera is capable of doing 120 frames per second or slow motion, then that would be the only instance where I would recommend using slow motion for stills. I hope this video was helpful and informative and also fun for you to watch. If you have any questions, definitely post them in the comments below and tag me there. I look forward to reading all your questions and comments. Until next week, I hope you have an amazing week.